Hello, I'm David.
Hi, I'm Julie.
Now we're going to do a review of Funkoverse Strategy Game, the Peter Pan version, which is for 2 players ages 10 and up. Now there are other sets that you can combine this with, but this is a standalone game. So this has different modes of play. We played flags in the how to play playthrough, but you can do leaders, territory, and control. Usually all the versions involve moving to location and getting points, or interacting with these letters here to get points, and points are represented by these crystals, and knocking down characters. What's unique about this set, because I assume people who are watching this are interested in what's different about this set than the other sets. Well, we played the full rules. Peter Pan has Tinkerbell as a companion, has a Lost Boy character, so the Lost Boy and Peter Pan are characters. Captain Hook and a pirate are the other characters, but Captain Hook has a cannon and a sword that you could also give it to Peter Pan too, but it would be unfair for Peter Pan to have the sword and Tinkerbell. So let's take a look at their abilities before I go over some of the basic actions, because like I said, I know some of you are watching this because you are already used to the rules. So what is a Tinkerbell companion? She has 1 defense. But she can distract rivals, so she can distract the pirate and Captain Hook, who would only have 1 defense. They really have 2 defense if she's adjacent to him. And adjacent is left, right, up, down, and diagonal. She can move up to 2 squares. Every time you activate Peter Pan, she can move. But she can also, when you activate Peter Pan, assist in stand up Peter Pan if he's knocked down. So it's like nothing else to say about that. So I was about to say something else. Okay, so Peter Pan, when I first played him, I didn't really understand how to use him. So a lot of this game is understanding how to use the characters. So he can use his red action here to move 2 and do a basic challenge, which is rolling 2 dice. I'll explain challenges in a moment here. Normally, you have to take an action to move. So he gets basically a free move and then can challenge. Have a little thought. So this is why I didn't understand it at first. He can remove himself, go down on the cooldown track, and then when he comes back off, that's the you can fly, he can reappear at any point marker. And so when you're playing scenarios with these point markers, he can reappear here, do an interact action, and then get that point. So that's a really cool ability. And then the other thing he has is the codfish on a hook. So you can challenge 1 rival that's adjacent for 3, and challenge a second rival for 2. Normally you only roll 2 dice. So if the pirate and Captain Hook are adjacent to Peter Pan, he can attack both of them. But they must both be standing, so he can't do this if one of them is, or both of them are knocked down. And then the Lost Boy is your typical second character, represented by a counter, because it would be very expensive to include more Funko Pops, but you can use a Funko Pop to represent that Lost Boy or the pirate. And so nothing special, just the basic actions that Peter Pan can do as well. Now Captain Hook is pretty interesting. He could do a taste for cold steel. It's a challenge 4, and then he moves the target back 1 square. So this is one way to keep a character away from the flag. You can just push him away. Shorten the fuse. So if there's something on the cooldown track, like a point marker or the cannon, which I'll go over in a moment, you could move it down 1. And that means that it will be available that much sooner. I haven't explained the cooldown track yet. Menacing Captain. An ally of Hook can see, does 2 basic actions. So this means that the pirate can get more actions if it's the pirate's in line of sight. However, just like in the old movies here, Captain Hook beats him up or something like that to get his attention and does a challenge 1. So you might end up knocking down your own pirate after he does the actions. Now here's the special ability here with the cannon. The cannon starts off at the edge of the board, right here. Captain Hook can move it 3 spaces, and then this is why I don't line up my people in a row, because you can hit every one of them in a row. The cannon does not pay attention to line of sight blocking or character line of sight blocking. Basically, you can lob over things. So the cannon can target Peter Pan here, roll 2 challenge dice, and if it's successful, Peter Pan gets knocked out. If it's not successful, it can try again using another one of Captain Hook's actions. But if it is successful, it goes on the cooldown track on the 3, meaning that it will take a little while before Captain Hook can use it again. Now the sword, that's what you see right here. And it can come out, you can give it to other characters. It's pretty cool. So whenever Captain Hook does a challenge and rolls a shield, you can re-roll one of those shields and hope to get an attack icon or a hit icon. I'm not too sure what it's called, but... So how does the challenge work? So, say Captain Hook and Peter Pan are fighting right here. Captain Hook, let's say, was 2 spaces away. You can use 1 action to move 2 spaces, and then go ahead and roll, honey.
I roll how many, sweetie?
Well, let's say you do your Taste for Cold Steel. So that means Julie's going to use her red counter here. That means it's going to take her 4 turns to get it back. So that way you can't use your special abilities over and over again. That's why, actually it starts on the 3. We'll take her 3 turns to get it back. So she's going to roll 4 dice. And exclamations would either be 4 hits or 4 defense. In this case, it's 4 hits. And the explosion marker is a hit. So she hit me 4 times. I get 2 dice because my defense is 2. I didn't block it at all. I get knocked down. But I'm not knocked out. The pirate or Captain Hook would have to get another attack, but since Captain Hook had to move there, say the pirate's 2 spaces away, the pirate moves in, now attacks me and does a basic attack with 2. I still get to defend. Wow, 4 hits, really? I only blocked 1. But if I would have gotten this, I could have blocked it. So now I'm knocked out. And she would get a point for knocking me out. So in this scenario that we're showing here, the scenarios are pretty much kind of similar. Every time you interact with one of these spaces, you get 1 point. You knock down a character, you get 1 point. Now the flag, if you start out adjacent to the opponent's flag, and at the end of a round, you can remove yourself, go back to your starting area, and then get 2 points because you kind of, you captured the flag. So let me show you the basic actions, and then we'll go over our review. And you can see the full game on our How to Play and Playthrough. So you can do 2 actions, a character can, not Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell is a companion. She only activates with Peter Pan, and she gets 1 action. She can move 2 squares, you can challenge by rolling 2 dice at adjacent character, adjacent rival. You can assist. So when Peter Pan was knocked down, an ally, Tinkerbell, or my Lost Boy could have stood him up for an action. Interact, that means I can interact with those point squares to get points. You can use an ability. Some abilities are passive, but other abilities take an action to use, like what Captain Hook did with his Taste for Cold Steel. Use an attached item. Sometimes they're passive, like Captain Hook's sword. Other items, like the cannon, you have to use an action to move. And then you can give an action to a companion. So if Peter Pan doesn't want to use his actions, or even 1 action, Tinkerbell usually gets 1 action. She'll move 2. If I really want her to move farther, I can give her another action, even have her move farther than that. But the problem is she can't interact with spaces or the flag. So she basically wants to hang by Peter Pan to make them lose a defense, or to assist him and bring him back if he's knocked down. Oh, what am I doing? So the other thing you can do, if there's nobody to assist you from being knocked down, you can rally yourself, but then that's how you do that round. You stand back up. And then the other thing you do is you can exhaust yourself on purpose if you have nothing to do, or you want to give another character some time. So one strategy is, say Peter Pan's here, and the Lost Boy's over here. I'm by the flag. I don't need to do anything. I just exhaust myself. Instead of activating Peter Pan, I may want the pirate and Captain Hook to go first and not use Peter Pan yet. And then Julie has to decide if she gets too close. Then I can activate Peter Pan and attack. So sometimes the order that you go in, you may exhaust yourself on purpose just to allow another character, another turn to go by. So the way rounds go, you flip this to see who goes first at the beginning of the game. So Julie would go first. She activates a character. Then I activate a character. She activates her other character. Then I activate my last character. And we flip it over. We move things down the cooldown track. So this would go down 1. We unexhaust our characters. And if anybody is here on the cooldown track, they go back into their starting area unless you have Peter Pan's power, which he can go onto a point marker. So that is quickly how you play.
That was good.
Hopefully you check out the How to Play and Playthroughs. It was actually very competitive.
It was really fun.
It came down to the wire.
And we're not going to tell you who won, so you have to watch it. So now we're going to tell you our positives, negatives, and neutrals, and then we'll tell you how we rated it on the BGG scale, and I will go first.
Okay.
I think these characters are super cute. They're really well made. I just think Funko does such a good, or Funko Pop, I don't know. Well, they just do a great job with this stuff.
Pops.
Okay.
This is what they're known for.
I just love them. They are so darn cute. Okay. It's family fun that doesn't take long to play, and it really is family fun. I mean, you could easily, if there was 4 of us playing, you could have, 2 on one team, 2 on the other, and you guys could decide who moves what. So it's really kind of fun. And it doesn't take long. So if you wanted to play this after dinner or something, you could do it, and everyone would have a good time. Then the kids will be so worn out, they'll go right to sleep. It's great.
Well, there's 4 Funko Pop sets where you have 4 characters that we have that you can definitely do that.
Okay. I think the art on the boards and the cards, I think this is really pretty. I love...
Let me show the other side while you're talking.
It's just, I love the colors they used. I love how you just feel like you're on the boat. Or in this case, you'd be in the, I don't know, swamp or whatever it is.
Well, this is the mermaid area.
Or mermaid area.
I think.
And it's just really pretty.
This is the beginning board they suggest that you play with because it gives you a teaching template here. So it helps you how to position stuff.
Which is good. The components are solid. I like the dice. It's, what do you call it, honey, when it's sunken in?
Oh, they're etched dice. That's true.
They're etched.
I forgot
which
that.
Which I really like, because,
Because they could be screen printed, which can rub off, and if they're stickers, that's really bad.
And they're very lightweight, which for someone with me with arthritis in my hands, it's really easy for me to use. I do think the younger players, I know it's 10 and up, they might need some help understanding the cards, because I'm not going to lie, I needed some help understanding the cards.
That's where a lot of this game comes into play, is that understanding how to use your abilities and how to enter.
Yep.
We have the Movie Monster one, and Julie said, who do you want to play? And she said, I'll play these 2 characters. As well, those are the more difficult ones to play, so I think you should play. So sometimes what you should do is if you are going to play with younger players, younger people, you give them the easier characters.
Yeah.
And you're going to need to basically do a tutorial, a learning game. Because there's enough text here that someone who's not at reading level can struggle. But if you put them in pairs and teach them after a while, they can get it. If your child can play Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, and games like that, and other like Ticket to Ride, if they can play Ticket to Ride and Carcassonne, they can handle this.
Oh yeah.
But if they haven't played any gateway games at all, if all they've done is Uno, and Hi-Ho Cherry-O and Monopoly,
checkers,
they're going to need help with this game.
I agree. And my last thing, which is a negative, there's just no cooperative mode, and I get it. You're competing against each other, but I don't know.
But you can compete against an AI component. There's a reason why Marvel United, we rate so highly, because it's a cooperative
miniature game. And as you guys know, I love cooperative, and so that's the only downside for me is I just wish they had that. But other than that, I really like this game. It's very fun.
Okay, so let's see what I have to say.
Okay.
So it's smooth and fast playing, asymmetrical, meaning that we don't have equal powers. The fact that I have Tinkerbell, she has a sword and a cannon, that makes it interesting. And it's 1 versus 1 gameplay. At least this set is. The 4 players the sets with 4 Funko Pops, you can play with more players.
Right.
So it's quality Funko Pop figures, board, and dice. It avoids player elimination with some strategy.
True.
Because you just get knocked down and you get knocked up. Now, strategy, it's not the most strategic game, but it's also not so light that there's no strategy. It's kind of in between.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So the average card encounters, I mean, it's hard for them to keep the price point the way it is, but that's thin. The cards are average, nothing special. They're not linen. And this is what you expect. But there's some games that have even thicker than that, but that's average.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
But
pretty
this
good.
is below average here, this right here, this countdown track. But, you know, you have high quality pieces like this, you know, in the Funko Pop. So it's a mixture. They couldn't make everything, you know, super high end and keep
the price the way it is,
right? And then lacks sample playthrough for inexperience. So the rule book, it is challenging. If you're a gamer, you'll be fine. But the thing is, you read this first, and you play a basic scenario where you just beat each other up. Okay, knock each other out. Then they introduce all this stuff, but it doesn't really have a playthrough that shows you, well, how does this all come together when you have companions and when you're interacting with it can take, and then you have, just like games like Magic the Gathering, you have a glossary to help you understand stuff. This is where it gets, if you're an experienced gamer, you have no problem with it. But if you're buying this and you haven't played games like this before, there's a reason why people watch videos.
I would be the one. I definitely would be watching videos.
Exactly. And I think a playthrough in the rulebook would help with that. That's my point. So it needs more variety in modes. This is why we don't play this game as often. And when we do play it, yeah, it's fun. But like I said, there's no cooperative mode. We'd be playing this game a lot more. Or if they found out a way to combine maps and you could have like 6, 8, 10 Funko Pops go against each other, and maybe when you get knocked down and knocked out, you're knocked out forever.
Oh,
you know, you have Funko, you can. So they need to introduce more modes.
I just don't think I could control 6 or 5 different people.
Yeah, and you're right. That would make it more complicated.
Too hard for me.
It would be, but for the serious gamers out there who play other miniature games,
they could totally do it.
That's what's missing from this to take it to the level where you would play it more often. And that's what's going to be reflected in our rating. Yes, this game is solid. But how often are we going to play it when it doesn't have a cooperative mode or a way to combine more modes of play?
Right.
So let's see what it says here.
Okay.
So we both said a 6.
Yeah.
Because this is not on our list. We like collecting them.
Yep.
We do enjoy playing when we're in the mood. But there's other miniature games like Marvel United, for instance, or Conan, or Hero Quest. We play that over this.
True.
What would you like to add?
Pretty much nothing else. I mean, you've said everything that I pretty much would have said. I mean, it is fun, but we have games that we prefer that might be a little bit more fun.
Right, and that's the thing. The game is solid.
Oh, it
There's nothing
is.
wrong with it.
No.
In fact, even though it's not a miniature game, we'd play Dice Throne, which you'll see a video on that over this. There's just other 1 versus 1 games that will get our attention. Just had more modes, and especially a cooperative mode. This would move up the list.
Definitely.
So, Funkoverse, you have all these sets. I think we have them all except the Golden Girls.
Yeah, we won't get. I mean, I do love the Golden Girls show. I have to admit I do, but I don't know if I'd want to play them.
Yeah, we didn't buy those.
Game.
We have all the other ones. If you want to see the other sets, just let us know in the comments. We'd be happy to play them on camera. But because of that, it's like, okay, all right, we run up, knock each other down, collect some points, go here and there. It's the same thing, kind of, except with some little bit different character powers.
True.
Maybe even some scenarios. Where you have to, like other games have, you have scenarios, you got to do things, and it's not always the same thing.
Oh, yeah. That would be good.
Yeah. But hopefully they do that.
That would be fun. I would like that.
All right, well, thanks for watching.
Thanks so much, you guys. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.